A Giants podcast for Giants fans
by Giants fans.
It's Shaun Morash.
On the sideline, into the end zone. Touchdown, Giants!
From the offseason to the wins and the losses, it's time to take one Giant step.
Welcome into one Giant step. Four more games to get through on this Giant season. I'm Shaun Morash. He's Bryce Gelman, at Shaun Morash, at Bryce Gelman, both on Twitter and X. Download, subscribe to one. If you just found us, like maybe you just found us on YouTube, came across it on the Audacy app. Great. Welcome aboard. Happy to have you. Hope you like what you're hearing. But please download, subscribe everywhere podcasts are available, however you are listening to this right now. And you will get notifications every time a new one drops. And if you like Giants football or interested in Giants football, interested in what the offseason is going to happen, that download and subscribe situation becomes pretty important because whenever news breaks, we want to be here. We are taping this on Sunday evening. The Giants have lost to the New Orleans Saints 14-11. Most of you would know that now if you're listening to this podcast, I assume. And it was an eventful day. For a 14-11 game, it was an eventful day. You know, we will do plenty of like long-term, what does this mean? It almost feels like every podcast delves into that. So let's just talk about the day, all right? Because this had it all. I am, running around like a madman this morning, kids, the whole deal. And my cousin, his brother, both my cousins, their wives, their kids, about 10 of them schlep out to MetLife Stadium today. Why? God bless them. But you know what? They love young kids. And this is the time. Bryce, I remember this when I was younger.
It's cheap though,
to go, man. This is where you actually catch generations of fans because a kid goes to his first game on a day like today because his family can't normally afford to go or not even afford to. You know, when you want to bring a lot of people to a game, it's a whole thing.
Also, you don't have to worry about traffic. You don't have to worry about traffic right now.
Well, I'll come back to Long Island.
You do, but nothing like that one time you went and took 4 hours for you to get home.
Exactly.
Nothing like that.
So I'm hanging. I'm having a good time. I get this text this morning as getting set up, and it's my cousin from the parking lot. I thought I was getting like breaking news here. Stupid me. I didn't realize this whole thing was going to go viral real quick. And it's an airplane as I press play, and it simply has the streamer. It says, "Mr. Mara, enough. Please fix this dumpster fire." Now, this is hysterical because you might be an old school Giants fan, like real old school. I'm 37. Bryce never reveals his age. And I have always heard these stories from my dad. My next door neighbor, Dave's, he's great. Old school, 64-year-old Giant fan. And all year I've heard this term when I watch the games with them, Bryce, and that is starting to feel like that year. Remember when they were flying the planes above? And it's always a reference to the 70s and when things got really bad. So this is actually a really historical throwback thing. Like when the Giants were rock bottom, before they ever got to Giant Stadium, planes were flown above like this. So everybody was treated today to that airplane trip over the stadium, which, again, we got to have a longer form conversation at the end of the week as we preview the Ravens game. Couldn't have sat well with the owner. Like, that is all-time embarrassing when fans or whoever are paying for flights out there. The players got asked about this post-game. Of course, none of them had seen it. Yet, of course, this is making it to John Mara's desk. Of course, this is, Joe Shane and Brian Dable are going to be aware of it. This was a bad one today. So the day starts with that, Bryce. Any reaction to fans deciding to buy a plane? And how about the wild, stupid internet rumors that it was Malik Neighbors, who basically had paid for it? He got asked about it after the game.
I'm glad Malik Neighbors cleared it up and said that it wasn't him. I'm glad he confirmed, because I think a lot of people were holding out hope that it could have been him because he may be the first rookie to ever ask out of a team. At this point. No, but listen, I think it's good that the fans are getting the word out there. I think it's a little crazy to pay money to have that done instead of just like, protesting and not showing up and saving your money. I don't know why you want to spend your hard-earned money on a plane with a thing attached to it, but it's a good way to get a message out. And of course it got the message out. Everyone, the 20 people at MetLife Stadium were rooting for the Giants today. They saw it. So listen, I think it's good to get that discourse out there. It's good that, that is a way to get your message to John Mara, but that he's already been getting this pressure, a message on a plane isn't going to change anything. He's feeling pressure from all sides of this issue right now. So good.
Cool. And nonetheless, you know what? I guess cool. Give credit to the fans who did this, whoever had the money to do this. Geez, my wife pointed out today, could have been the plane company. Who knows? The owner of them could be a Giant fan at this point. Look, if you want Dable and Shane out and you're unlike me and Bryce on this kind of show, that's the kind of stuff that it's going to take, like real levels of that. So 2 more home games after that. Let's see where it goes. The other part of this game that was eventful, Bryce, I haven't even talked to you about this. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but, young man, you probably are. How about the fact that a Giants player reportedly paid an OnlyFans model? Did you see this?
No.
Oh, come on. Okay. I'm not getting scooped here. It was Dove Kleiman aggregated this.
Oh my God! That's the thing. I blocked Dove Kleiman. I don't deal with Dove.
The TMZ put this out, and I guess this is going a little viral at the moment on social media over the last hour or so. And that is a Giants player paid an OnlyFans or gave an OnlyFans model tickets to today's game near the Saints bench, so she could flash Saints players during the game to distract them. And the picture is online. She is wearing a Giants beanie hat, and she's pulling the bra up. Nice looking, attractive woman. Could definitely be an OnlyFans model. I'm buying this story, Bryce. So for the idea that the Giants have lost the locker room or they don't care, I mean, that is going all out. I think when you're struggling, when you don't have a quarterback that can complete a pass early in the game, more on that in a second, I think, paying a woman to flash her hooters to Saints players to distract them tells me the team was all in to win today. Bryce, your thoughts?
Oh, I'm just seeing this now. Yeah, that's crazy. That's pretty wild. That someone did that.
Yeah.
Is it confirmed that it was a Giants player? Because it could have just been someone. Hey, I played for the Giants.
Look, can we just? I'm stressing that this is Dove Kleiman via TMZ.
I don't deal with him.
I'm just the reason I say that is it's okay to dream, right? I'm gonna accept this as the absolute truth. And I think this is great. I think this is great. Man. And this kind of stuff never happens to me when I go to a game. I mean, how great would that be? 3 seats over. Whoa, what's going on here? And the tickets were cheap today. So it just goes to show you for everybody, I don't want to go to a game like this. I was the same way, cold weather, even though it wasn't that cold today. December, Saints, why would I go? You could have saw, if that interested you.
It would have been some entertainment. As a Giants fan, you would have gotten some entertainment from the game.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Both of those puppies played better than Zudu and Neil today. So that's fine. Okay, now, done making really crude jokes here on One Giant Step. 14-11 the game, Saints, Giants win. So we have all the off-the-field stuff on the field for the New York Football Giants. And this is how the day starts. Drew Lock goes, did it end up being 0 for 11 or did we end it at 10? Whatever it was. 0
for 8. It was
0 for 8. Well, no, I think it went past 0 for 8 because he definitely got to 0 for 9.
I think it was 0 for 9.
We should put it this way.
Either way, it doesn't matter what it was. It still set records. It's NFL records.
It was the first time a quarterback had gone that long without an incompletion since the Broncos had to start Kendall Hinton, who wasn't even a quarterback. So that's how embarrassing today's start was for the Giants passing the ball. And Bryce, we're going to spin this to what happened later on, which I still don't fully understand. But Drew Lock stinks at football. He just stinks. I even got to the point, and I don't think the O-line was that great today, but I'm not saying that. But was I nuts, Bryce, or did it not feel like this was a game where the offensive line was making it impossible to move the football or at least complete passes? Because I felt like for an Azudu Neal situation to tackle, the Giants got their version of competency, and I'm putting that in air quotes there. What was your vibe early in this game with how the O-line was blocking? What the hell we were seeing from Drew Lock?
Listen, it's one of the worst performances that we've seen in NFL history from a quarterback. And people want to tell me that this season isn't on the quarterback play. First off, the Saints only sacked Drew Lock twice in this game. Right. It felt like he had a lot of time to throw. There were a bunch of times when he was able to roll out of the pocket, get 10 to 15 yards downfield because there just wasn't much of a pass rush. So, I mean, listen, that aside, that is unacceptable. And I hope we never have to witness that again from a Giants quarterback. And it's just like, good riddance, Shaun. Right. Like I can't deal with that.
Terrible.
Well,
and look,
he ends up finishing the game with a less than 50% completion rate.
It was terrible.
That is pathetic. That's pathetic.
Yeah. And again, though, you're in a spot with Drew Lock. I mean, because of their defense, though, they fight back late. They're in a spot where they'll have an opportunity on a last drive before obviously the kick gets blocked. So I guess you got. I mean, still, you couldn't score today. It was on the defense. I'm not even going to call it that. After starting that way, my point is I can't believe that it even looked functionable the rest of the day. But once you got Malik Neighbors at least a little involved, obviously that was really important. And a couple of the drop passes, Tyrone Tracy, that wasn't not good either. neither here nor there. You got there. The start of the game was extremely ugly. Now, if you listened to the last podcast, maybe you did great. If you didn't, great. All good. Bryce and I do fantasy versus reality at the end of every podcast. And we talk about like how the Giants can win a football game. And a couple of the layers that we brought up, whether it was Bryce or myself or whether workshopping, talking to each other, how we got there was number one, how about actual interceptions win the turnover battle? And bam, Trey Hawkins, Bryce, gets the Giants' first interception since week 1. He obviously is the first guy in the secondary to have an interception. So we checked that box today. The Giants will not finish with that streak going into the end of the year. It's the little things, Bryce. But all right, rooting win, loss, or whatever. We'll get to this in a second, too. When he intercepts the ball, knowing that streak, I was for the first time in a long time, you got me to openly jump out of my couch and go, all right. And I went for the hand slaps.
Well, everyone I was around like a few of my friends, and they thought something amazing happened. Like they thought they thought Soto signed with the Yankees. That's what they thought happened. That's how excited I actually got out of my seat. I'm like, let's effing go. I don't think people understand. Like it's been 14 weeks since they've gotten an interception. It's pathetic.
Yeah, it awful. But either way, I was into that part of this. All right. Then the other way that they could have won the game, I specifically said this out loud when you were talking about like they're going to need something wild to happen. I said a Smith Martinet return for a touchdown, and bang, the Giants have a moment like that where he gets in the end zone. Of course, it's called back, which I didn't love the TV call on this because they allowed me not to see anything that flashed flag on the field or anything like that. That kind of hurt just from a viewer standpoint, but we were almost there, Bryce. And guess what? If that is not, I don't even think that hold actually affected the play, truthfully, in watching the replay. But had that not gotten called, the Giants, look at the point total at the end of the game, would have won the game. And we would have looked back at one Giant step and said they got the Smith Martinet return, and that was the difference in the game.
I was not surprised whatsoever when they called it back for a flag. And you're right, because at the time, you thought that he's in, touchdown, amazing. Well, not amazing. I was pretty upset about that, to be honest. I'm like, come on, what are we doing? Come on, we really got to return a punt for a touchdown. But then you saw the flag, and you knew exactly where it was going. You knew that wasn't on the Saints. You just knew. And, of course, it was called back. Classic.
So, fun moment there. All right, but the Giants look dead as a doornail. It's 14-3. And something hilarious happens. The Giants go to start the offensive series on the first play. And this is where I'm going to pick apart the coach for a little bit. On the first play, Tommy DeVito comes out off the bench.
What was that?
To take a snap at quarterback. Now, down 14-3, lifeless offense. The people who paid the cheap money for the tickets to the seats, was looking for anything to cheer for. What do you think the reaction was? Of course, it was loud. And the fans who were there wanted to cheer about something. They are either diehard season ticket holders who haven't seen a win at home all year, or fans that just, we know we stink, but this is a great opportunity to go. They wanted to be excited about something. They got excited about something. Dable gave them a reason. One play goes nowhere. And mind you, everybody in the seats, everybody at home thinks what? Drew Lock has been benched because the team's down 14-3 and he was horrible. One play, and Drew Lock comes running off the bench to now boos that he's coming out, and Tommy DeVito is going back in. Boos from the crowd at this point. So let's put a pin in this and stop on what happens from this point forward. The answer after the game that Brian Dable gave is that they have special Tommy DeVito packages. Now, I want to make this very clear. At this point in the season, Tommy DeVito was hurt. I don't think he could fully let it rip right now. I think that's kind of why he wasn't starting again. Whatever the case is, I don't have an issue if you're trying to get creative when your quarterback situation sucks, whether it's Locke or DeVito, to say, I'm going to put in special packages. That is easy to laugh at. But the truth is, hey, it's like analytics. It's like Billy Bean. Maybe if this quarterback does some things well and this quarterback does other things well, I can find a way with a special package to combine the two and give myself the best ability at quarterbacking the NFL. Now, I think that plan on the basis when you got to make chicken bleep out of bleep bleep, right? I think that works, Bryce. Here's the issue. The team sucked in the first half. You never went to this package. And you decide to break out the package on first down 2 scores where you know the cult hero that is Tommy DeVito, and you know the fans can't stand Drew Lock. The timing to call that play, Bryce, I thought was preposterously ridiculous. You didn't try it in the first half. Why would you do it on first down and even set the crowd up for that? Why?
They were teasing us. Straight up. They were teasing us. I want to sit here and try to explain it, but I can't. I literally can't. I was shocked. First of all, I thought DeVito was in, and then I've got multiple people around me go, DeVito never came in. He never came in, because I realized he was taken out after one play. I still, for the life of me, can't understand why they did that. And honestly, I don't even want to know. I just like,
yeah,
I want to forget about it. I want to forget about that ever happening, to be honest.
Crazy. Okay. Anyway, guess what ends up happening on that drive? The Giants get in the end zone and score a touchdown. By the way, a typical Giants. The only time they get in the end zone, which they rarely do ever, if at home, it is not ruled a touchdown at first. It gets ruled a touchdown on replay. So you didn't even get like that true thrilling moment of going nuts in the crowd. But anyway, the Giants, the Tommy DeVito drive ends up how they get in the end zone. Now, okay, game goes back and forth. We all know they're driving late. If you're sitting at home and you're not really paying attention in the crowd at MetLife, and you're like most of us, whether you just have Red Zone up on another screen or, you have the Sunday ticket, you're splitting the screens all over the place, it's easier than ever to track everything that's going on in the NFL. Bryce and I rarely text during games. Rarely. It takes a special kind of moment. And I got two texts a couple moments apart, one from Evan Roberts and one from Bryce Gelman. Okay.
And
basically we're along the lines of the same thing. The Jaguars have lost, so we know that is done. Okay, meaning that's only the Raiders were getting tight with the Bucs, but you want to have the least amount of wins in the NFL at this stage, ultimately, right? That's the goal when you're this bad. And getting the Jaguar win was huge. The Giants have made this a one-score game. What are you looking for? Evan Roberts want to know, what are you looking for? Bryce Gelman was very upset, I couldn't tell the audience. Under no circumstance was there even a piece of his bone in texting me that wanted to win this game. I am here to tell you that's the wrong answer, even though it's the best answer, okay? The wrong answer, but yet the best answer. The Giants lost. We saw the block kick. I did not jump out of my chair and fist bump, nor did I react in like you gotta be kidding me, how if that game mattered, I would have. I simply laughed. And I think that is the best way to approach fandom right now is don't cheer for losses like Bryce Gelman did. Don't even go nuts for the wins like I wouldn't have been doing, but just sit back and know you can't control it. I laughed, Bryce. Did you jump out of your chair and cheer at that point when they blocked the field goal?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Multiple fist bumps,
okay.
a few F-bombs in there as well. I'm not hiding it anymore. I'm not. I
couldn't do it.
I get it. And I've said here repeatedly time and time again, I understand if you live and die with every Giant snap being upset if they lose. But at the same time, coming to terms with the loss and being okay with it moving forward. I don't subscribe to that belief. I mean, not to say that I don't live and die by every Giant snap, but at this point of the season, you're rooting for losses. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, different. I think at this point, I don't want to see them win. I don't even, because the joy of watching them win the moment would be quickly replaced by the disappointment of knowing they could have lost out on another generational quarterback. We saw it last year.
Well,
we discussed it maybe 150 minutes combined over the last, 10 weeks of this podcast. Since we've been talking about, at least 5-6 weeks since we've been talking about tanking with the season over. I don't care. I'm standing by it. If you want to at me, if you want to call me a middle schooler, I've been getting a lot of that lately. If you want to give me, what about this, you can go ahead. I completely understand, but I'm standing by it. Like I'm completely with the losses, and I'm happy with the losing.
I think you're right. You should be, at this point, happy with the losing. And my father, who seems to be the hardest to convince about this losing thing, was all in with me too today. My point on this is there's a lot of, you'll see the official stats out there, and you'll hear a lot of this, and we're going to tell you this same stat on the podcast. Had the Giants won the game, by the end of the results of today, they would have been, based on strength of schedule tiebreakers, picking 8th in the NFL draft.
That's what I'm saying.
They would have been picking 8th.
Exactly.
Instead, we go to bed tonight, they're picking 2nd. However, that is real clickbaity, but we all have eyes, and we all understand how the NFL works, and we all understand teams are going to be playing teams here the last 4 weeks of the year. If you think the Giants winning today would have resulted in them ultimately picking 8th in April, you're an idiot. That is not how this would have worked because
Yeah.
we just think about what it would have took for the Giants to win this game today and everything that had to go right, and that's versus a bad team. The Giants are not winning a game the rest of the year. I could say this was it. Like, this was it. They didn't do it. This would have been it, period. They would have finished with 3 wins instead of 2 wins. And how many 3-win football teams do you think we're going to have at the end of week 18? Maybe the Raiders. Maybe but the Jaguars play. Think about it, the Jaguars play the Raiders. So
the Jets.
To me, well, the Jets are in play. To me, I think the Giants would have been picking no worse than 3rd overall in this draft.
With a win. Disagree.
Because I don't think you get more than 3-win teams. And they're going to have the highest strength of schedule. Sorry, didn't mute my mic. But they would have been picking. So I don't think it was the wrong thing to sit there if you thought they were going to win the game. It would have looked and been bad tonight. It also would have been good for the morale of the locker room. You know what I mean? There would have been happier answers in there that probably would have bought you a month with less controversy. I think don't undervalue that. So I don't think winning today would have been the worst thing in the world. I really, really don't. I understand where Bryce is coming from. So it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, Bryce. Ultimately, though, they lose. And now you can say this team is picking 1st or 2nd overall. And whatever quarterback you prefer, Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders will be there for the Giants. That question was answered today. That part of this is over. The Giants are picking 1st or 2nd overall. And the end result of that today, when you look back, and don't worry, you have plenty of time to worry about the quarterback's a bust. If the quarterback is a success, and this really becomes the next era of Giants football in a positive light, you will look back at December 8th, 2024, and Graham Gano having a kick block versus the New Orleans Saints as an important reason why you know. Did you get Soto?
Not yet. Martino just tweeted, Soto's situation appears to be coming to a head this evening. Sorry.
Okay. Continue. So we're watching that. So by the time we put up this podcast, everybody will be talking Soto. And that'll be it. All right. Anyway, yeah. So we're going to look back today and go, hey, losing to the Saints ultimately is how they probably got to that quarterback, amongst other losses. So we should all be happy tonight, but it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. And that's it. So the Giants right now are picking right there. You're tracking the Raiders the rest of the year. And Bryce, when all was said and done, the defense played well overall, right? Yeah. We talked about 2 weeks ago with the Bucs. Was the team going to quit? Team didn't quit despite all of those injuries that we brought up with the Giants. No names playing D tackle. Alvin Kamara was held relatively in check. I thought, honestly, I know the Saints.
2.8 yards per rush.
Yeah.
For the Saints. I think that's the lowest for the Giants all year.
Without Dexter Lawrence. And Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns played well today. Don't let anybody. They played their ass off. They are trying. The team. The summation is what a theme here, right? They're not quitting. They're just bad. They're lousy. They're young and inexperienced. They're hurt, all on top of not being deep enough to begin with. They're not going to win a game the rest of the year. But I cannot keep saying the team. Now, you want to tell me the coach stinks for other reasons? Fine. I can have that argument. But I cannot have the argument that this team is not going to play hard for Brian Daboll. This is 2 lost years in a row. This one clearly worse. And they are. So that's where we are. And by the time we do another One Giant Step, Bryce, Juan Soto will have a home. Will Bryce and I be in good moods? Stay tuned for that. Will we be in bad moods and some of you in good moods? Either way, wild. Yeah. But we've already lost Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. Yankee fans, losing wants. I ain't going to like that either.
Can't do it.
Either way, Giants-Ravens awaits. We'll preview that and more Giants conversation should anything major happen throughout the week. He's Bryce Gelman. I'm Shaun Morash. Thanks, everybody, for taking One Giant Step with us.